Hi, everybody. It's that time of year. Lots of folks heading out to buy new PCs, whether it's for a child heading back to school or maybe for your business. Ed Bott's here with us for ZDNet to talk about this. And Ed, just here to start with, what are some of the trends that we're seeing here in the PC market?
Well, I think that probably the most interesting trend, this is the time of year when you have big trade shows like IFA going on in Berlin. So all the big PC manufacturers are introducing their new models. I think, probably the two biggest trends that we're seeing are, first of all, a consolidation in the industry. You're seeing a lot of the smaller OEMs sort of disappearing or becoming less important in the market, and the top manufacturers, the Dell, HP, Lenovo, and such, they're the ones that are capturing more and more market share right now. The other trend that you're seeing is a move away from consumer PCs. So you've basically got machines that are being built with the interests of businesses and business customers in mind. Now, in some cases, for large businesses, that means commodity products that are well built and easy to manage. But I think the most interesting part of the market are the high-end laptops that are being built for not just for students, but for solo professionals, people who want a really high-quality machine that they can take out and use anywhere, whether it's at the office, in their home office, on the road while they're traveling, in a coffee shop somewhere. You want a product that's going to hold up. And so the thing that you're seeing with the general trend of these big OEMs building high-end products for this market is that you've got a lot of really good choices available. It used to be that there were a lot of cheap options, but with the sort of collapse of the consumer market, those don't matter anymore. And basically anything that you look at from one of those top tier manufacturers that has the specs that you need is going to work for you. And so the old emphasis that people had on speeds and feeds, does it have the right amount of RAM? Does it have a powerful enough CPU? Those things are pretty much a given these days.
Okay, and some of the things that people, some of the specific things that you want people to look out for, are we talking about just a general shopper out there or a specific type of buyer?
Well, I have my own personal preferences, and what I find fascinating is that the big manufacturers now are differentiating their products by really focusing on some new technologies that can improve your productivity and really make a PC more usable. And in the latest article that I did, I focused on 5 of those features that I find really important for the PCs that I'm considering buying for myself. The first one, of course, is having a touch screen and support for a pen. Now, I realize that that's going to leave out all Mac products from my list, but that's okay. People know I'm a Windows guy, but I really find the ability to turn a PC into a tablet temporarily so that I can annotate a PDF or sign a contract or something and quickly send it back. I find that very valuable. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a relatively new technology called USB Type-C. And the thing about USB Type-C is not just the speed, but the fact that if it's done right, it can handle just about any input to your PC, including power, power delivery, full docking stations and such, so that you can run, a couple of large monitors, keyboard, external hard drives and such. And, so you can basically turn your laptop into a full-fledged desktop PC by just plugging in one connection. I'm also a big fan of biometric authentication. So those are things, people are used to fingerprint readers. Those have been on phones and on some high-end PCs for a while. But the newer variation on that I really like is Windows Hello facial recognition. And if you've got an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy, you already know how addictive facial recognition is, and how it makes you more productive by keeping you from having to enter a password over and over and over again. You just look into the camera, it recognizes you, and boom, you're logged in. So that's something that I look for. One that a lot of people don't think of, but I certainly do when I'm trying to be productive on the road, is the aspect ratio of a laptop display. Now, historically, for the past few years, people have, or the big manufacturers have been selling laptops with 16 by 9 displays. And that's not a coincidence that they choose that aspect ratio, because that's the same as a high definition TV. And if you're watching movies all the time on your laptop, then that's a really good choice. But it feels really cramped when you're trying to be productive. You're trying to, put two documents side by side so that you can compare different versions, or you can copy something from a web page into your Word document or something. So I prefer what the Microsoft Surface line has is a 3:2 display ratio, which is much taller and makes it easy to work with two documents at once. Companies like Dell are starting to introduce some products that have the same aspect ratio as most Macs, which is 16:10. And that might not seem like much of a difference, but really, when you start trying to make yourself productive, it does make a difference. And the final thing that I was skeptical about this one myself when I saw it at IFA last year, but I've become a convert, and that's mobile data support. So instead of just having Wi-Fi, instead of having to depend on, Wi-Fi in the hotel or Wi-Fi in the coffee shop, which can be insecure and slow, I like to see a laptop that has a mobile LTE modem built into it. You can buy data plans very cheaply these days, and with the latest versions of Windows 10, your system can shift back and forth between Wi-Fi and mobile data and keep you productive anywhere you are. Now, I realize that, these aren't the kind of features that are going to matter to everyone in the world, but, in a world where you have a lot of choices among PCs, I think these are, kind of the features that people should be paying attention to, instead of just those standard speeds and feeds that we've focused on for so many years.
Yeah, and that's some great advice there, Ed. And before we let you go here, as you said, with so many choices out there, and sometimes people can get overwhelmed with all of the different options and what may or may not be best for them. Whether someone is buying online or going to a bricks and mortar store, is there a way that you can suggest to them that they make it a little bit easier, maybe put their thoughts down on paper exactly, or write it down or put it somewhere with the things that are most important to them, or things that, any way to kind of help make it easier to make a decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to really pay attention to your workflow. And, frankly, there's nothing like hands-on experience for a week or two with a product to see whether you like it. Things like the feel of the keyboard, things like the size and the aspect ratio of the display, the quality of the display, the speed, the responsiveness of it. And so, the one thing that I tell people when they're considering buying a PC is it's not just an exercise that you can do on paper. You need to spend time with it. And so when you buy something like that, make sure that you get a no questions asked, no restocking fee, money back guarantee. Most of the big top tier manufacturers will do that, because they know that if you really want to try something out, you need to put your hands on it.
Yeah, definitely some great advice there to pass on. Well, we appreciate you, Ed, for being with us. And if you want to learn more about Ed's suggestions for buying a new PC, make sure you check out his article there on ZDNet. Thanks for watching.